Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Lewis Nichols. We're doing a little bit of character building today. Worked a little bit of an exercise for 5e, Dungeons and Dragons. We're creating a lore bard right out of the 2024 Players Handbook. Uh, we do this sort of thing on a pretty regular basis, so if you're into it and you want to see more, leave a comment. In fact, you can even suggest the character that you had in mind for us to work with. Give me the specifics of your 5.24 build. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel if you have time. Hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you don't, I still appreciate the fact that you're here. Everybody, meet Meredith. Meredith started her life working around the family newspaper. She spent some time military adjacent as a mounted courier. As a young adult, she took a new position. It's the same job, but for the royal court. With all the rivalries and intrigue of that court, it was a dangerous position. She had begun an adventuring career and didn't even know it. Under the influence of the court entertainer / spymaster, she took her lifelong love of music and turned it into a weapon, inspiring those she rode with. She learned a little bit of magic, although at the time it just seemed like parlor tricks. Being around print, Meredith picked up a love of reading, which led to an above-average understanding of history, religion, and nature. She's now a rare combination of streetwise and book-smart. She's becoming a dangerous spellcaster and a notable scholar around the court. But what are the nuts and bolts of it? We're writing her up as a 5th level lore bard out of the 2024 rule set. Bards get a D8 for hit points. With a good con, she ends up with 38. Good leathers make her AC 15. She's proficient in saves against Dex and Charisma. Meredith gets to use some simple weapons and 3 instruments. We're going to go with the flute, the banjo, and drums. Most DMs aren't going to think much about what music is popular in a campaign area, but it never hurts to ask them. If you're so inclined, maybe they'll let you make some decisions about those cultural tastes. We're going to keep Meredith out of melee and set her up with a sling and shortbow. Bards can really go either way, being a backup to the front line or being solid support. Those weapons aren't going to be used much. Vicious Mockery is her go-to method of damage. Finally, she gets an entertainer's pack, which is basically camping gear and 3 costumes. I like to look at bards as propagandists, which means a moral choice. Not a silly alignment choice, but something that really matters. Is Meredith going to use her skills for the good of the state and local powers, or in the name of truth? Rarely do the two align. I wouldn't make her choice for her, never be that presumptuous, but this is something that every bard needs to consider, even if they're trying to stay neutral. If I'm Meredith's DM, I'm going to make sure that she has a list of contacts from her early days. It'll be some folks in court, as well as the ones that she delivered messages to. These might be military officials or covert individuals such as herself. Some more nuts and bolts, then we'll circle around back to that whole background thing. Bards get their first big deal right off the bat. This is Bardic Inspiration. This gives a boost to the party members that they choose that can turn failure into success. Okay, Meredith, it's your go. What do? I'll cast a Vicious Mockery at the one with the fat mother for 5 points of damage and give inspiration to the fighter. Okay, fighter, you're up. Oh, I rolled a 12 to hit, but use Bardic Inspiration to add 4. 16 hits for 8 points of damage. It's smooth, it's simple, and it's effective. Now let's talk about spells. The book recommends Dancing Lights as an early cantrip, but I have a hard time not picking Mending or Prestidigitation as a bard. Outfits need repair and sprucing up. There isn't always a cleaners around. Now as a bard, you are only going to get so many spells to choose from. You're going to need a plan. Who else is in your party? Are you going to be needed as a healer? Maybe you're the guy that needs to detect magic. Just don't forget character-appropriate spells as well. Meredith is a book nerd. comprehend languages is happening. I keep putting off background, but we're coming up on some related issues, so let's do it. These days, my method for backgrounds is looking at the book first, seeing if I can get anything in there to meet my needs. I really tried this time, but the list let me down. Neither Scribe nor Sage offers charisma as a bonus. This is good news in the long term, because the situation is forcing me to add another of my own backgrounds. It's going to be Mounted Courier. It's what it sounds like. This is a person that's made a living delivering the mail or private messages across the landscape. Quick segue too, folks. Why do hermits get a charisma bump? Did they just want warlocks to be hermits, and since warlocks get charisma, it just worked out that way? Alright, let's just don't think about that. Alright, so what is our courier going to get? For skills, animal handling, and survival, their stat options are going to be charisma, constitution, and wisdom. They need guile, charm, endurance, and the ability to make wise decisions to be good at their job. We're going to give them the alert feat. It's always a good one, and it makes sense. Tools? Let's go with cook's utensils. They're going to have something to make themselves a meal out on the trail on those long trips. I'm also giving her 2 nice scroll tubes to keep messages safe. Finally, her specialization. We're going to give her advantage on survival and animal handling checks when delivering information. This is a cloaked rider delivering missives through the night. They are skilled in avoiding patrols and bandits. They are experts in overland navigation and equestrianism. At second level, bards lean into their role as a skill monkey. They gain expertise in 2 skills. I'm going to go with nature and animal handling. These are both character building decisions, as I picture the character's skill in handling a horse being important to their persona. Jack of all trades is also gained at level 2, meaning a +1 across the board to all non-proficient skills. Eventually this is going to go up to a +2 when they hit level 10. I figure at 3rd level and beyond, Meredith is becoming a little bit more of a traditional D&D bard. She's traveling with a team, taking on missions, and fighting the bad guys. She picks up performance along with other skills as part of her subclass. She's also going to get cutting words, kind of a reverse inspiration to make enemies fail. At 4th level, she's going for Warcaster. I thought a lot about what kind of skills she was going to get into. Telepathy, skill expert to really lean into that aspect of her character. And there's also telekinetic. But Warcaster is just a great skill, and it's going to help a lot with concentration spells and make her far more effective. I know that species is far more important to most people in creating a new character, and I always tend to put it off. But with the 2024 rule set, it really gives you the ability to decide late. It does still matter, but it's far less restrictive now. I thought about Wood Elf, but I've been pretty elf heavy lately. Halfling seemed wrong, as did Gnome. Eventually, I decided to go with Chthonic Tiefling for resistance to necrotic damage and just a few more spells to add on to her abilities. Of course, she's not human, so she's going to have dark vision too. You know, one thing I have really noticed in doing these builds is that magic is everywhere in new D&D. Between background feats and race, a DM could easily rule that 1 out of 5 adults on the street have a cantrip ready, maybe more. Mending and prestidigitation might be so incredibly common as to completely change industries. That's going to do it for today. Say goodbye, Meredith. I hope you have all enjoyed the build. It's still not too late to do the stuff. That means like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see in coming weeks. I am flexible and create a schedule, if not body. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. Cheers.